Watch. A year after retirement, Nadal returns to court, practices with Alex Eala. Rafael Nadal was back on a tennis court on Wednesday, November 19, 12 months to the day since retiring from the sport. The former world number 1 and 22-time Grand Slam champion showed he still got it in a practice session with Filipino youngster Alex Eala, the 50th ranked player on the WTA Tour, at his Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca. Nadal played his final competitive match on November 19, 2024, ending his storied career with a Davis Cup quarterfinal exit against the Netherlands. In an Instagram post, Nadal said it felt great to be back on a tennis court. "It was great to practice with you, Alex," he added. "Next time I will be stronger." Eala is coming off a breakout campaign in the WTA Tour, reaching several milestones including a semi-final finish in the Miami Open. She reached the final of the Eastbourne Open in June, and won the Guadalajara 125 Open in September. Production: Conal Quinn. Alex Eala returns to PH after Hong Kong Open run, ends season at career high. Manila. After a hard-fought campaign at the Hong Kong Open, tennis star Alex Eala is back home in the Philippines for a very short break to recharge and celebrate a remarkable year. Eala shared a set of serene photos on Instagram featuring the tall volcano, captioned, "I always find my way back home Philippines with Ben and Ben's ride home on its track." Read, tennis. Alex Eala breaks into top 50 of WTA rankings. On her Instagram story, Eala also gave fans a glimpse of her homecoming comfort, a plate of kakanin. Her return follows a spirited round of 16 finish at the Hong Kong Open, where she pushed Canada's Victoria Mboko to 3 sets in front of a large, cheering Filipino crowd. Despite the loss, Eala ended her 2025 season on a high note, achieving a career-best WTA ranking of number 50, a major leap from her position at number 140 at the start of the year. The young ace will return to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain for training before turning her attention to the Southeast Asian Games in December, where she is set to represent the Philippines once again. For Eala, who has spent most of the year competing across the globe, her latest post says it all, that no matter how far tennis takes her, she'll always find her way back home. The video thumbnail alone was enough to send the tennis world into a frenzy. Watch. Nadal returns to the court, trains with Alex Eala. Within minutes, social media timelines erupted like a long-dormant volcano, each notification a spark of disbelief, nostalgia, and pure excitement. Rafael Nadal had been retired for a year. The idea of him stepping back onto a court, even for a casual hit, was something most fans had relegated to their private daydreams. Yet there he was. The clip opened with the clay of Mallorca glowing under a gentle Mediterranean sun, the kind of golden light that made even a practice court feel mythic. The camera zoomed in slowly toward Court 3 of the Rafa Nadal Academy. A familiar silhouette entered from the far gate, cap backwards, racket in hand, walk unhurried but unmistakable. And then, as if the universe wanted to inject an extra dose of poetry into the moment, another figure appeared by the net, Alexandra Eala. At 19, Eala was no longer the promising junior the world once knew. She was now a fearless pro, armed with a growing list of accomplishments and a steel-sharpened game. Yet when Nadal approached her, she beamed with the unmistakable delight of a kid meeting her hero. "Ready?" he asked. "As ready as anyone can be to hit with you," she replied, half laughing, half serious. A rally of generations. The first shot Nadal hit in the video was a gentle forehand, but even that seemingly casual swing carried the trademark weight of his topspin. Clay dust puffed up like it was greeting an old friend. Eala caught it cleanly, returning with a confident cross-court angle. The rally began slow, almost ceremonial, like the first notes of a familiar song being played after years of silence. But Rafa Nadal has never been wired for half-speed. Within seconds the pace quickened. Balls hissed across the net. Footwork patterns emerged, sharp and instinctive. Nadal, despite a year away from competition, moved with the same coiled intensity fans had memorized over 2 decades. His shirt clung to him, hinting at the quiet discipline he'd kept throughout retirement. No camera could hide that. Eala held her own. Even in the grainy video, her strokes were crisp, purposeful. She slid into backhands, redirected Nadal's pace, and even wrong-footed him once, a point the crowd of academy students watching from the bleachers reacted to with hushed giggles and widened eyes. "You're not supposed to do that to retired champions," Nadal joked between points. "Then maybe you should stop hitting like you're still winning Grand Slams," she shot back. The banter was warm. Familiar. Almost familial. Behind the scenes. As the clip continued, viewers were treated to montages of the unlikely practice. Slow-motion forehands, synchronized footwork, and even a brief rally at the net segment where both players smiled through every volley. When the camera caught Nadal wiping his face with a towel, a commentator's voice whispered over the footage. A year after stepping away from professional tennis, Rafael Nadal seems to have never lost his love for the game. That was the heart of it. Retirement had softened none of his fire. If anything, it seemed to distill it. The man who had spent a lifetime battling injuries, timelines, expectations, and the limits of the human body now returned simply because he wanted to. Eala's presence added a generational symmetry to the moment. She had trained at his academy since she was young, absorbing not only technique but the intangible lessons of grit and humility that Nadal embodied. Now she was the young star and he was the legend guiding without lecturing. A point to remember. The highlight of the video, the moment that instantly went viral, came near the end. They played a single point, starting with Eala serving. She tossed the ball high, sent a spinning serve into Nadal's backhand, and the two engaged in a surprisingly intense rally. Rafa, refusing to concede even a friendly point, unleashed a forehand that kicked up so much clay it briefly obscured the frame. Eala chased it down, slid, and flicked a forehand down the line. Nadal sprinted. The audience gasped. He reached the ball, of course he did, and returned it with a looping lob that dropped precisely inside the baseline. But Eala, now laughing breathlessly, refused to let the point die. She scampered back, leapt, and executed a perfect overhead smash. Point Eala. Nadal raised his arms dramatically as if acknowledging a champion. "Rafa, you let me win that," she said. He shook his head. No, that was yours." The students clapped. Coaches nodded. And Eala, cheeks flushed with pride, looked like a player who had just earned the ultimate approval. What the world saw and felt. When the Academy uploaded the clip, it wasn't just a video, it was a celebration. Fans dissected every movement, slowing the playback to study Nadal's footwork or Eala's angles. Former players shared the footage with nostalgic captions. Some commentators called it the comeback that isn't a comeback, while others wondered whether Nadal's competitive fire might flicker back to life. But for most viewers, the meaning was simpler. This was joy. Pure tennis joy. A legend rediscovering the game he loved. A rising star sharing the court with her lifelong idol. A reminder that tennis,